Well, here I'm going to show you how to do the selfie portrait in Illustrator rather than in Photoshop. So what I'm going to do first is I need to place that Photoshop file where I just did the grayscale. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to File and Place. And you can see it's Shift Command P. And from here, you can see my menu. I'm going to pick the Selfie 2 portrait, which is the black and the white. And it allows me then to decide where I want to start it from. You will actually notice that this picture is I clicked it in there pretty small, so by clicking my mouse a little tight, but there it is. So there's my portrait that's ready to be worked on. So again, I need to select the colors that I want, and this is a little different than Photoshop because Illustrator is vector based. But in the long run, this should turn out really nice. So here's what I'm going to do first. I'm going to go up to my window. I'm going to get my swatches. And in my swatches, you'll see it's only a limited color palette. However, what I'm going to do is on this little menu on the side, I can go down to my color books and open swatch library. I want to actually go to my color books. And down here on color books, I'm going to get Pantone solid coated. So you'll see it's a little off the video, but you're going to see it pop up here in a second. Pantone plus solid coated. So you can actually see, I don't really need these swatches anymore. These are the swatches I really need to choose from. And you'll see there's a whole lot. And I can decide on my color scheme and so forth. So the first thing I'm going to do is make sure I have 9 squares. So I'm going to actually just create my first block with my rectangle tool. And I've done that. And the color I'm going to choose on here is the fill color, which is actually, watch where I'm going down here on the color. You can see it's now white, but we're going to go ahead and change that to a color that I'd like to do this portrait in. We're going to pick that dark blue. So if you can see here now, I've got that dark blue. I'm going to hold down the Alt key and drag, just like I did in Photoshop piece, but I Alt drag and I create a duplicate and I figure out what my next color is going to be, and I can go down and say, well, I like that blue. So if I'm taking a look and picking them from these blues as I'm transferring myself into the right dark gray tone to get me in through here. So I'm going to go Alt, grab another one with my Alt key, hold the Shift down, and actually if I want to I can just keep making them. There's 4, Alt, drag all of those, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. So now I'm just going to go through and pick the colors. So I've got that one. The next one I'm going to go through and I pick, I'm going to have to look for the tones. I'm going to try to get a guesstimate. The next tone's going to be a little bit lighter, but still in the gray family where I want it. Let's see. See, this is the hard part, actually picking the tones. So there's the third one. Oh, that looks a little bit light, so let's go ahead and darken that baby up a little bit. So I'm going to pause here for a second and I'm going to pick my colors and then I'll come back. Okay, so I've got my colors here, and you notice my blues are pretty limited. I could probably shift this to a blue if I wanted to, but as I'm shifting in, it's fine. It's going to work for me now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to select the artwork, my portrait, and now I've got to convert this to become the same vector posterized image that I was working with before. So what I need to do is go up to my window, and in my windows I'm looking for image trace, and you'll see it's right here. Unfortunately there's no shortcut to launch it, but once I get the image trace, we'll move the colors down here just in case I need them again. I'm going to move them off screen. Get over there. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide to image trace this in grayscale because I'm converting the values to colors. So I'm going to go ahead and start this in grayscale. I'm going to limit the colors to 9. And then what I'm going to do is click the trace button. Actually, the preview works exactly the same as the trace button. It's kind of interesting like that. And so what it's doing now is it's taking the pixels and converting them into vector shapes, which is pretty cool. And actually it went up to 50, but you can see all the detail at 50. I really don't want that. I want 9. So let's make sure that's at 9. Here we're going to try again. And it's going to go ahead and be done at 9. Almost done. There we go. There's the 9 color that I was looking for. So you can now see this has limited its color a bit, and now it's a 9. The biggest thing here is once this is done, this is actually an appearance. It's like a preview of what it's going to look like as a vector. In order to convert this from a preview to actually vector shapes, you must click this expand button up here at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you can now see all the points and paths. At that point, I'm going to select right click on this, and I'm going to ungroup, which will allow me to select colors